How to master the skill of self-motivation. Zig Ziglar. Lightning flashes on an empty horizon. Thunder rolls somewhere in the distance, and the entrepreneur at her desk glances up from the glowing screen that has become her companion through the darkest hours of the night. She rubs her eyes, sips the last of her lukewarm coffee, and asks the question every builder of dreams eventually confronts. How do I keep going when no one is watching, when nothing seems to move, when the finish line retreats like a mirage each time I run toward it? Self-motivation is the answer that separates those who flirt with possibility from those who marry it, the force that propels founders through pivots, investors through downturns, and leaders through the silent battles fought behind boardroom doors. It is the art of catching flame within and feeding it until the world must take notice. And in the words of Zig Ziglar, people often say that motivation doesn't last. Well, neither does bathing. That's why we recommend it daily. The hidden cost of an unfired engine. Entrepreneurship, business ownership, and investing each promise freedom, yet the early seasons feel more like voluntary captivity. Revenue graphs stubbornly flatline, algorithms refuse to smile, market cycles mock projections, and the friends who once cheered now ask polite questions laced with doubt. In those moments, the mind becomes a courtroom, evidence of failure stacking on one side, scraps of optimism on the other, and without a practiced discipline of self-motivation, the verdict lands against your potential. An owner without inner drive loses the spark required to coach employees beyond the minimum. An investor without internal ignition pulls capital at the first hint of volatility, forfeiting compounding gains. An entrepreneur drained of personal fire stops shipping, stops selling, stops learning, and the marketplace indifferent as gravity lets the venture tumble toward obscurity. The opportunity cost is invisible on balance sheets, yet brutal in lived experience. Crushed confidence, eroded reputation, forfeited wealth, the silent regret of knowing you quit an hour before the tide changed. Why? Conventional fuel runs out. Schools teach equations, not enthusiasm. Accounting programs dissect ratios, not resolve. Even MBA curricula offer frameworks for strategy, but rarely the chemistry of sustaining spirit. Most professionals enter the arena equipped with technical skills, yet unequipped to revive themselves when skill hits a wall. External rewards, the deal signed, the round closed, the promotion awarded work like adrenaline shots. They jolt momentum, then fade. Social media praise dies with the swipe of a thumb. Market buzz turns to market boredom the moment headlines pivot. Without an internal wellspring, every win becomes a sugar rush followed by lethargy, and every setback feels terminal. The psychology beneath the flame. Self-motivation lives at the intersection of three psychological circuits: meaning, expectancy, and agency. Meaning answers why a task matters beyond profit. Every enduring venture nests inside a larger story, whether that story is changing an industry, liberating a community, or simply proving to your children that resilience outlasts hardship. Zig Ziglar championed meaning through his unshakable belief in service. You can have everything in life you want, if you will just help enough other people get what they want. Purpose transfers the focus from ego to impact, shielding drive from the toxic swings of personal approval. Expectancy governs belief that effort will produce result. Entrepreneurs cultivate expectancy by stacking small wins, measuring lead indicators, and rehearsing success vividly until it feels inevitable. Ziglar urged audiences to see the reaching before feel the grasping, to visualize the closed deal, the grateful customer, the ringing cash register, then let that sensory rehearsal pull the body into action. Agency sustains the conviction that circumstances respond to choice. Founders nurture agency by tracking controllables: calls made, prototypes tested, pages written rather than externals. Funding, climate, macroeconomy, competitor noise. A bias for controllable metrics builds the muscle memory of progress. 6 cornerstones of Ziglar-style self-motivation. 1. Crystal clear goals. Zig Ziglar's goal-setting workshop became legendary because it transformed vague ambition into contract-level targets, written, time-bound, and emotionally charged. Entrepreneurs adopt this by translating increased revenue into grow monthly recurring revenue by $50,000 within 9 months through 2 new SaaS tiers, pairing each numeric aim with a why statement that quickens the pulse. 2. Positive self-talk. Replace "I'm terrible at sales" with "I refine my sales skill each conversation." Swap "markets are rigged" for "markets reward disciplined risk management." Daily learning rituals. Ziglar devoured books, sermons, biographies, turning commutes into rolling universities. For modern founders, the ritual could be a 20-minute podcast during a treadmill run, a chapter of Buffett's letters before inbox triage, or a lunchtime debrief of yesterday's metrics. Learning is motivational because it expands perceived options. Where options multiply, hope follows. 4. Environment by design. Willpower is finite. Environment can be engineered. Ziglar surrounded himself with achievers who spoke possibility. Likewise, curate masterminds, Slack circles, and office spaces that default to ambition. Remove visual clutter. Stack inspiring biographies on your desk. Display a dashboard of KPIs on a wall-mounted screen so progress whispers each time you glance up. 5. Schedule dopamine surges not only at goal attainment, but at anticipation of reward. Pre-schedule mini celebrations, a Friday espresso after sending 20 investor updates, a hike when Q2 net profit crosses the first threshold, a weekend getaway after launching the beta. The brain begins to link discipline with delight, sustaining momentum through droughts. 6. Service-driven vision. Self-motivation matures from selfish to selfless without losing intensity. Ziglar's lens of service transforms routine transactions into acts of contribution. A business coach sees each client breakthrough as ripple effects on families, employees, and communities. An investor views capital allocation as fuel for innovators solving real pain. Service elevates grind into stewardship. Crafting your personal motivation operating system. 1. Morning ignition sequence. Begin before devices hijack. Focus. Write 3 power questions. What am I grateful for today? Which single action advances my key goal? Who benefits from me executing? End the page with a Ziglar quote that stirs courage. 2. 2-hour deep work blocks. Research from behavioral economics shows willpower strongest in early day cycles. Schedule creation, product design, strategy, analysis before meetings scatter attention. Turn notifications off. Goal 0. Adjust afternoon agenda. Self-motivation thrives on feedback loops measured in hours, not quarters. 4. Evening victory log. List 3 completed micro wins. Closed 1 customer, fixed a bug, read 10 pages. Over time, the log becomes a miracle evidence that you are a finisher, powerful ammunition against tomorrow's doubt. 5. Weekly reflection and refinement. Sunday evenings, rate motivation on a 10-point scale. Identify triggers that spiked or sapped energy, and adjust environment accordingly. This metacognition. Even seasoned achievers confront days when internal dialogue mutates into sabotage. The investor after a 20% drawdown, the restaurateur reading a brutal Yelp review, the founder watching a rival secure headlines. In such valleys, borrow courage through community by phoning a mentor, revisiting customer testimonials, or rereading journal entries from past wins. Ziglar called this getting in the marketplace. Entrepreneurs who master self-motivation build cultures where employees self-start, where innovation budgets survive market winners, where vision statements shape quarterly chaoses. Investors who harness inner propulsion ride conviction through sentiment cycles, capturing upside the timid surrender. Business owners who ignite themselves sell with authenticity, negotiate with calm, and pivot with agility because their identity anchors deeper than any single tactic. The road ahead. Imagine 12 months from now, you rise before sunrise, not from alarm but from anticipation. The to-do list aligns with a vivid picture of impact. Each task crackles with meaning. Setbacks trigger analysis instead of anxiety. Evenings close with quiet pride rather than restless guilt, and profits reflect it all. That future self is not lottery luck. It is the compounding dividend of disciplined self-motivation. Zig Ziglar's legacy proves ordinary individuals can access extraordinary fuel when they decide to guard the mind, govern language, and give their gifts to the marketplace consistently. If this message lit a spark, shoulders of the self-motivated stand tall, and others will rise with you.